Who's running the camera? Fogalas, what the hell are you doing? It's all white out here. Fogalas, fix the camera. Sergeant Fogalas is running the camera. It's all white out here. Can you see me? Anyways, I was going to give you an update. Now, the reports about Venezuela, you've got the two factions, the current sitting president and then the pretender to the throne. The current sitting president is allied with the Cubans, and the pretender to the throne is allied with Donald Trump. If you're a military person, you're going to be wondering, well, what on earth is going on with the Venezuelan armed forces? I don't know. I haven't been there to look. All I'll tell you is that Venezuela is reported to have the largest reserves of oil on the whole planet. I don't know if that's including Saudi Arabia. They used to say Saudi Arabia, but Venezuela's got an awful lot of oil. And for it to be reported constantly that there's no food and the people there's no medicines in a country that's so rich in oil just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And the Cubans, that no one trusts the Cubans, but no one trusts Donald Trump neither. So, I mean, everyone knows that. Anyways, it's very difficult to report on it other than it sounds like the Cold War all over again. And the report that we heard, we're in Canada right now, we heard it on CBC Radio, and we don't trust CBC Radio neither because they're very corporate. At one time they were the government-owned station, and now they just seem to be reporting corporate news. There's no difference between American mainstream news and the CBC, which is supposed to be owned by the people of Canada, but they seem to be reporting the same way as the mainstream news in the States. And everyone knows that the mainstream news in talking about space today, they said, well, it was a very small mission to the space station in orbit by a commercial launch. And they don't talk about the secret space program at all. There's a space program that is never mentioned on mainstream news. So they have this fallacy going on. Although the reporter said the space race is on. They're using the technologies that was apparently used in the 60s, but even that is questionable because of the stories of anyways, but the secret space program, the Nazi Germans were building anti-gravity spacecraft in World War II. You could look up Nick Cook, who was a commentator, a journalist, and he wrote The Search for Zero Point, and he talked all about it in his book. And then you've got I've talked a million times about Corey Goode and David Wilcock talking about secret space programs. What other evidence do we have? Well, personally, I have seen one of these Aurora Astra triangular shaped craft flying overhead at nighttime, and it's a black triangle with lights around the edges. You can see it's a triangle. I saw it last summer. So if it's secret, then why are they flying around and showing me this stuff? I don't know. I mean, it's not intimidating me. No big whoop. I've had helicopters just hanging there pretending to be stars. They turn on a searchlight and they just hang there. And then, after a while, if you go and stop looking at the sky and you go in for a cup of hot chocolate, you come back and then they're gone. I mean, they're helicopters that are hanging there. Or they could be these spaceships that are able to, do the same thing as a helicopter, just hoover there. I've seen lots of Cessnas in places where you wouldn't expect Cessnas to be, in strange hours in the middle of the night, flying over private properties. So anyway, as far as Venezuela goes, I don't know. I'm not scheduled to go there. I mean, I've been assigned to do searching here with Fogalas in northern North America. I'm not sure if we're going to Alaska next. And Greenland would be included, Iceland. I mean, we could probably do the whole Arctic Circle. No one says it's the middle of winter and it's very cold, but they seem to like to keep us in the cold, and I have no further orders than just to keep searching for this stuff. Um, Fogalas, can you please fix the camera? It's all whited out. Honestly. Let's see. Little by little is never coming home. Little by little, last time he came around, everyone looked at him strangely, and he took a hissy fit and decided to bug out. So I don't know. We keep mentioning him because he had left a bar bill here and never paid. And some of the people say they've got private bets with him that were never paid. So some of them are figuring out how to go and hire a Cessna to go fly around and see if they can find him, because they want to drag him back here and make him pay his bar bill. Hissy fits are very common at Slytherin Bar. Everyone knows that, once people get in their cups, they get very emotional. Sometimes you see old men break down crying, and, it's usually about some old flame. Sometimes it's an old flamer. In other words, some of these men, you would never guess. Some of these men are, they swing both ways, and it never really gets out in the mainstream press. Some of these ones you would never, ever guess. And some of the women, when they get in their cups, they start spilling the beans on everything, and then they have to bolt the doors shut to the space station. No one understands, because they don't want people showing up in the middle of some gossip hour when they start talking about various other people. Little by little we think he stole a space freighter and is part of the secret space program. It might be a Solar Warden ship, and he's gone off on his quest, and he came back briefly because he was, I don't even know why he would have come back, but he came back briefly, and there was a big kerfuffle, and the next thing you know, little by little, turned around, walked out the door, and got back on his Solar Warden spaceship and took off. And the bartender came up from behind the bar, and he was already gone, and the bartender was livid, just red in the face, because it was a huge bar bill. He'd been gone for a few weeks, and so they came back, and they said, well, you got to buy us all drinks, rounds of drinks. And somehow he got shanghaied into buying all these drinks, and then he bugged out because they pissed him off. Now, let's see. I'm not going to talk anything more about Sergeant Fogalas' very poor camera work. If it looks like a white screen on your screen, it's Fogalas. He is the assigned photographer for my adventures, and I mean, all I see is like whiteout. I can barely see myself. So if it's coming through that way, it's because Fogalas has got the white balance all screwed up. Now, I'm not going to go and do. He wants me to play General Hand Grenade, that Trooper song. I don't know if you ever heard of General Hand Grenade. It's his favorite song, especially if he's been drinking. He only drinks beer, and he drinks American beer like that. I don't know if it's Schlitz or something. They sell it in Minnesota, and it's the cheap beer. It's so cheap that it's undrinkable, and it's only people that are just they're searching in the bottom of couches looking, and they're looking in the couches for lost dollar bills and things so that they can buy some beer, and they buy this cheap stuff, and it is absolutely horrible. I tried it one time. I spit it out. I just and spit it out all over the place. But Fogalas loves this stuff. He thinks it's just, what do you call that stuff in Nirvana? It's just ambrosia. He calls it ambrosia. He just loves to drink this stuff. And then, well, no one wants to clean up after Fogalas after he's barfed, because usually when he's been drinking beer, he's always ordering pizza. And he has got big problems with heartburn. He should not have tomato sauce. And then he orders pepperoni, double pepperoni, and Italian sausage. He's a meat lover specials. And then, he keeps drinking and keeps eating pizza. Then he's all overstuffed. He's got too much pizza in his gullet. And then he gets heartburn. It bubbles right up here. And the next thing you know, he's running off to the toilet, and he never makes it. He gets halfway towards the toilet, and then he just spews power vomit all over the place. And then the smell. Everyone knows the smell of puke is unbelievable, and it just goes through the whole of the space station. I don't know why, they should just feed him oatmeal. Oatmeal, and I don't think I think he's lactose intolerant. Maybe it's the cheese on the pizza that's setting him off. And no one talks about if it comes out the other end. Oh my God. He should just have very bland diet. Cucumber sandwiches and a little bit of salt, no pepper. You can just have the salt and maybe some Miracle Whip. Mayonnaise. No, it's got eggs in it. He shouldn't have it. He shouldn't have it. Just cucumbers and maybe bananas. A very easy diet. He shouldn't have anything spicy at all. And as far as this beer goes, no one knows, but enlisted men demand beer. They insist on having a beer bus because they get all giddy. They're like schoolgirls. They're all giddy. And they start taking out towels and whacking each other on the ass. No one understands. I'm not watching Fogalas. I'm not watching. He's making these funny faces. You should see what he does. It's unbelievable. General Hand Grenade is not going to be played by. He wants me to sing it. I can't sing it. I can't remember the words. He says we have to go to karaoke and I have to sing General Hand Grenade. I'm going to see if I can get someone to film me singing General Hand Grenade sometime this week. All right. Well, that's your update. I'm Col.Cliff Soreen with Sergeant Fogalas, my photographer.